What's going on, everybody? So today I'd like to show you guys how to automate the creation of atomic reconstructor recipes from actual editions. This is one of those things that a lot of people claim is either a pain in the butt or really difficult to do or just genuinely isn't worth doing. I plan on doing this in my single player Let's Play as well as on my server, so I thought I'd show you guys how I did it. It's really not that hard, and you'll probably be fascinated by how simple it can be done. Now, I've done this using only actually editions. I have an outside power supply here from EnderIO, but other than that, this is literally vanilla mechanics, and it's very, very simple to implement. So the way it works is you input your item here in the dropper or the dispenser. You can do either one, but the dropper's more suggested just to avoid any incidental recipe conflicts. So we'll put 8 pieces of redstone in here. You'll see a redstone clock will start, and once it's finished, boom, it'll get shot. Now, it's not always completely perfect. I'm trying to figure out the timings on this, but I had a batch go through this last time that was completely flawless, so it might just be a matter of items being dropped too far away. Maybe even just that I'm launching this too soon, so we can give that a try. We will extend this by one more, and in fact, that probably will do it. So let's try that one more time, why don't we? So if I put 8 more in here, interesting. Still trying to figure out some of the timings on this. It's a little bit finicky. So you notice at 3 it was not doing anything at all, and now it's actually doing all of these at once. There we go. So you see, it's a little bit random. Redstone is not always reliable. So let me show you the setup for this, and hopefully you can either come up with a system on your own that'll work out well for you, or you can implement this one even. I don't personally care either way. So, the way this works is we have a dropper here, which is going through a comparator timer. So, essentially, anytime the comparator gets turned on, it's going to detect that there's contents in here. It'll start a clock, which is this part here, and this clock is slightly delayed so that it's not just rapid fire. And then the output of the clock is going both into this block, which is powering the dropper or dispenser, and it also travels down, where I have a 3-tick delay repeater. You saw that if I put it on 4, then it was going to emit redstone every single time an item was dropped. If you do 3, it'll emit redstone once whenever everything is done. It goes down here to a wire, into an inverter, which goes into the bottom of a block of quartz, and as you can probably guess, on the other side is the atomic reconstructor set on pulse mode. So now you've seen it, and it just shot off once again. So now that you've seen it, let's go ahead and just set it up real quick. Like I said, it's really simple to do, so let's just do it. Why not? So if we set up our atomic reconstructor first, and if I get myself a redstone torch just to disable this and move this to pulse only mode, we'll only need one comparator. Everything else is just going to be redstone or redstone repeaters. Very cheap as far as your quartz expenses go. Oops, put that there. And so you can do this as close or far away as you'd like. In fact, if we want to just do this one right here, we can kind of confine this quite a bit if we want. I just built it big and open for the fun of it. And if I just build it up like this, it doesn't matter how tall it is either. If you really just want it to be 2 blocks tall, you can do that. So I guess for the sake of showing you, we might as well just do it 2 blocks tall. It'll make some of our wiring a little bit shorter as well. So it'll need to be 3 blocks back here because you're going to need some space to work. So you can have your redstone comparator and 2 repeaters. You're going to have a repeater going over here. This is going to power our dropper, and then you have your repeater going back into the side, or your redstone signal going back into the side of the comparator just to turn it off. So now that we have this signal here, we can also, and we will need to, take our other signal down. So we can do this in a couple of different ways. We can either do this corner block, use this corner block, which is sort of my preference just because it makes things a little bit easier. You can choose either corner as well. And so from here we can choose to go down, and this is where it's like the easiest solution is to do something like this. And so if we go ahead and dig out the area underneath our little pathway here, we can go ahead and set our repeater here. You're going to want one more repeater here, and this is the one that's set to 3 ticks if you want it to shoot once every batch. However, that whole batch rule is kind of optional. And if we put our redstone torch here, it'll fire once, and it's going to stay fired. And keep in mind that it's going to keep on shooting, so if you're using quartz like I am for your floor, it's going to turn everything into quartz. Just bear that in mind. Now this is one of the nicest ways of hiding this setup, at least, is to do it like this so that it literally stops right here, because you have our repeater picking up the signal for the rest of the way. And now at this point, if I just give it some redstone, we'll give it half a stack. It's going to start dropping it down. And you notice that our atomic reconstructor is not throwing any sort of signals out yet. It won't shoot anything until it is all the way done. Now that it's done, boom. And that should get us 32 Restonia crystals. Now, picking this up is your own challenge. I'll leave that part up to you. So what you can do is you can either have any variety of filters for this, and you can choose to filter using just a vanilla hopper, or one of the smarter, easier ways of doing this is that if you wanted to do, this is what I think is kind of the coolest one. If you do this, we'll try this real quick just to show you. We can, let's grab an Enderlink chest just for demonstration. You can still do this completely in vanilla, and it's kind of my goal here is to show you the vanilla only method of doing this. We'll run a piece of redstone wire over top of the hopper. That part doesn't really matter. The bigger idea is that you can throw stuff on top of the hopper and it'll still get picked up. And so what we can do is grab a piston. We will make it a sticky piston. And we can, well, I guess we can't do that spot there specifically, can we? Well, maybe we can. If I move this here, sorry, I'm having to kind of do this on the cuff. I hadn't considered this idea specifically yet, but I just realized that it's perfectly doable. If we do this going into there, actually this would need to go into there. Perfect. And so now what will happen is actually, I don't know if this needs to be, we'll do redstone repeater here, and then, sorry, like I said, I'm trying to figure this out kind of on the cuff. Not really a great idea to do, but still definitely something worth investigating. We do want to delay this a little bit, so we'll put a little bit of a delay there. And with this inverted, we should be good. We'll just go ahead and use the aesthetic quartz. And so, of course, you're still going to have to see this, but, I mean, you can always kind of make this look cool or do whatever you really want with it, honestly. And I haven't tested this for sure, so we'll see if this works out. Nope, it does not work out. So we might have to tweak a few other things. What if we power the block it's underneath? So if we do that, actually hang on, let's do that. No, I'm not particularly sure. So I'm sure there's a way of doing this in vanilla, and you know, that's completely up to you as to whether or not you want to do that. The biggest thing for me, actually, I just realized we could probably have something off of the, well, I'm not sure. So you can play around with it as much as you want, but this gets the basic concept handled. So at this point you could do either vanilla, or one of the easiest ways to pick this up at this point, if you have mods, let me see, is if you grab a vacuum chest from EnderIO, And you can quite simply place that right here and put a filter on it. And you can blacklist or whitelist everything that you want, and just kind of have things set so that if you want it only picking up your Restonia crystals, then easy enough, we can have that handled just by doing this. Fortunately, because of the Atomic Reconstructor's ability to kind of handle a range of an area for redstone, it doesn't particularly matter that the redstone gets dropped kind of all over the place. That's not really a problem. Especially because the items are going to start to kind of come together. And you'll notice as soon as that happened, let's see, did we miss one redstone? That's not bad. The chances there are not too bad. And that got us one Restonia crystal. So there's probably more impressive ways of handling this. Honestly, the easiest one could possibly be to just send a signal here and then delay it and send a signal here. That's completely up to you as to whether or not you would like to do that instead. And if you do, go for it. But simply mess around with the timings here if you want to see what some of the other results are. But hopefully this kind of has stuck an idea in your head of how to automate this guy. Definitely is very, very, very helpful. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one.